All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Monday, November 9th, 2020 regular City of White Lakes Council meeting at 6:30. Roll call, please.
Mayor Vreeland.
Here.
Councillor Zins.
Here.
Councillor Segler.
Here.
Councillor Pop.
Here.
Councillor Peterson.
Here.
Council is all here and present. Consent agenda, please.
Item 3 is approval of City Council meeting minutes, October 26th. Item 7 is the filing of correspondence listed on your agenda. Item 9E is to approve the following 2021 liquor license applications. J-Way LLC doing business as Haven Bar and Grill, on and off sale and Sunday. John Sweeney doing business as North Star Lanes, on and off sale and Sunday. VFW Post 8144 doing business as Timothy Robinson Post Club and Sunday. Stephen K. Ferris doing business as Friendly Liquor Inc. off sale. MC of White Lakes Inc. doing business as Vaughn's Restaurant, wine and intoxicating malt liquor to include intoxicating malt liquor Sunday. And this is all contingent on receiving all the necessary paperwork and insurance information and approval by the East Range Police Chief. And item 10 is approval of claims, payroll, and receipts.
If everybody is okay with the consent agenda, I'll take a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Councillor Segler. Is there support? I'll support. Support by Councillor Zins. Roll call, please.
Councillor Zins.
Yes.
Segler.
Yes.
Pop.
Yes.
Peterson.
Yes.
Mayor Vreeland.
Yes, motion carries. Guest Citizens Forum. Becky, has anybody come on?
Not that I'm aware of, not that I can see.
Okay, then we'll move past that. We'll go to reports from staff. Library Director, Sue Sowers.
Things are going real well at the library. We still have about 20 to 30 people coming in. We have a take and make craft available this week for adults and teens. You can stop by and pick it up during our open hours. Next week, we'll have one for kids. It'll be a paint a Thanksgiving mini pumpkin. Our hotspots are pretty much always checked out now. Word's gotten around. Hoopla seems to be going well. People that are using it are happy, and the usage of that has been going up steadily. And I reached out to the elementary school to see if there's some ways we can help them. So this Thursday, I'm doing my first live story time for the second grade class where I'll be on Zoom. I'll be able to see the class and interact with them. Then I'll be doing another one with one of the other second grade classes. So that should be kind of fun, something a little bit different. And that's it.
All right, thank you, Sue. Does anybody have any questions for Sue? All right, moving on. Public Works Supervisor Kenny Snetzinger.
Yeah, so down at Public Works, I'm sure most of you guys are aware we had a employee test positive for COVID last week. Fortunately, it was on the weekend that he experienced symptoms. So he did the right thing, calling me, letting me know, staying home and going, getting tested on Monday. We, as a precaution, the exposure to the other employees was low, but as a precaution, we sent them in for testing anyway, and they've both tested negative. So we're fairly confident it didn't spread throughout the city here, and he's fairly confident it didn't come from the city, which is good. So he'll be back to work tomorrow. The other two guys came back to work today, so we'll be full staff as of tomorrow again. The road project is pretty much wrapped up for the year. They finished the overlay of the milled area from Brandon all the way to Leeds. They did the final lift on it, which they weren't planning on doing, so that portion of the road is back to what it's going to be as a final, which is good. We won't have manholes, valve boxes, curbs, etc. to plow around this year. The other part of the project, what I'll call the new portion of the project, will have the curb and stuff exposed, but they did get all the manholes and valves set as needed. So I think it is what it is right now for the winter. And in regards to the street project, I know there's been some questions on a few things. One of them being street lights. Minnesota Power, I spoke to them last week. They have us on the list for their crews to get back out and reinstall the 3 street lights that were temporarily taken down. So they hoped for midweek this week. Also, the fiber line that was buried under Councillor Peterson's driveway there, a portion of it that's under the driveway is done, but there's still a portion of it that needs to be respliced and buried in the yard. I keep touching base with that guy. Apparently their splicing crew is real short-handed or busy right now, and every day that I talk to him, I get a maybe tomorrow kind of thing. They're also going to try and do it in the evening, possibly, because that is the main internet line that affects City Hall. So if they did it in the evening, we wouldn't see an interruption in service. So I went by it around noon today and saw that it hadn't been done yet, but I can't verify that it's not being done as we speak. The other thing with the road project is all the barricades and cones, everything that's up and down the whole project, the contractor ITS that did all the traffic control, they've been informed to come and get all their stuff too. So you'll see all that stuff disappearing as well. Next thing is City Hall remodel project. All the sheetrocking, painting, everything has been done. The countertop with the pass-through slot is on order, should be in soon. As soon as that gets delivered, it'll be installed, and then the glass window can be set in place. So, and that project's coming along good. I believe Betsy up at City Hall has been in contact with, I've been seeing a few emails where December 10th, the office furniture people will be coming in, putting in the new cabinets and whatever is involved in their portion of the project. So that should be wrapping up in not long from now. I know Becky too had also talked to me about a portion of the bill she was hoping for from Lency's. I have left messages with Mike and haven't heard anything back, but I'll keep checking and touching base with him. That's about it for me right now.
All right, thanks, Kenny. Any questions for Kenny? All right, Public Works, Public Utility Supervisor, Jake Barron.
Hey, so we had our last load of sludge hauled out for the year. They moved roughly about 212,000 gallons out of that digester. So good to have that wrapped up for the winter. Aside from that, just winterizing the wastewater plant, which is just about done. And we had our own little COVID scare last week. I was actually sick. I got tested. I tested negative, and Pete's out. He tested negative as well. He'll be back on Thursday. So that's about all I got.
Okay. Any questions for Jake? All right, moving on to Ambulance Director Melanie Olmstead.
We also had COVID scare. Cody, our assistant director, was out for six days while we were waiting for his test to come back. He was negative, so that left me being the only medic in town. So I kind of got my butt kicked last week. ICUs are full. I'm sure everyone's heard the news. ICUs are filling up down in Duluth. Last Thursday, I had to take a non-STEMI to Brainerd. So we were gone for 8 hours on a transfer. While we were gone, we had a 911 call and there was no one else on call. And Tim Suler, who was off duty, I called him. He was off duty. He drove the ambulance and went and met Ann Vreeland, who left her job at the clinic to respond to this 911 call. Thursdays we covered by Wabick, so we couldn't page by Wabick. So everyone kind of pulled together and we were able to do that. So we're running into staffing issues. I've got one family out. Daughter has positive COVID right now. So like every department, we're running low on people due to COVID. And October, we had 118 ambulance calls. This month so far, we're at 30. So our numbers are up 14. Well, this was Friday. Friday, we were up 14.5% from last year. Our runs keep increasing and people resign and what have you. So we're running into some severe staffing problems.
We're going to address that coming up on the agenda, Mel. Okay. Okay. Anything else, Mel?
I don't think so.
All right. Thank you, Mel. Fire Chief Tony House.
Just as far as like Mel put, just the staffing, we are going to online training. We're not going to do in-person training for the time being. And then for the kids' Christmas party, we obviously will not be having a kids' Christmas party at the arena. We are looking at maybe doing a parade like they did for the Easter one. Get Santa, so the kids can see Santa drive around the fire trucks. So that's in the works. And other than that, that's about all I have.
Okay, anything for Tony? Anybody? Sorry, I didn't ask if anybody had any questions for Mel. Okay, City Clerk, Treasurer. Becky?
I think last meeting Tammy did talk a little bit. I just wanted to thank all the city workers and election judges for the great job they did in Hoyt Lakes. I've had several comments about how everything went great down there, very sanitized, people felt safe. Everybody really stepped it up and did a great job. So I wanted to thank everybody. And then just a reminder that Wednesday is a city holiday for Veterans Day, and just wanted to honor and thank all those in the military for Wednesday.
Thank you, Becky. I also, Becky, got quite a few compliments on Tammy and her staff at the arena that the election was very well done, like it always is, but also very safe. So
Right.
I did receive several calls on that too. So any questions for Becky? City Attorney Brunfeld.
Mayor and Council, just agenda items tonight.
Okay, thank you. Reports from City Council. Councilor Zins.
I have nothing tonight, thanks.
Thank you, Dave. Councilor Segler.
Nothing tonight, some stuff on the agenda later, thanks.
Okay, Councilor Pop.
The only quick update, I know the last meeting we got approval to go in and clean a couple of the residences that were still non-compliant after the curbside cleanup, and we did clean up 2 residences. It was a total of about 4 hours and almost a full truckload of garbage. So that's about it.
All right, thank you, Dan. Councilor Peterson.
Just agenda items.
Okay, thank you. And the only thing I have tonight is just for the council, everybody's update is we did receive the paperwork from IRRB, so we did get that $500,000 trail grant. So the ATV trail will be done this coming year from Gilbert all the way to Hoyt Lake. So that paperwork got signed. So, all right, moving over to old business. Item 8, COVID-19 city buildings. Looking at I see there's a note in here that Margie Nelson said pickleball. Due to the high COVID that they're gonna close that. And I noticed a letter that Tops did. Becky did it once, and they weren't gonna do it anymore.
Correct.
What's the council's thought on the community building and what should we do with that? Should we close that back down again, or what's everybody thinking?
I personally, yeah, I was, I guess, the only one that voted no to open it, and I strongly recommend that we close it back down.
Okay, I'd like to take buildings at a time here. Dan, I agree with you, Dan. Anybody else input on that?
I guess I don't particularly have a preference either way. If the council wants to close it down, I'm good with that too.
Okay. Chris or Dave?
I'm fine with closing it.
Has there been any requests for usage other than Tops?
There's been a couple personal requests for like Thanksgiving or the Christmas holiday like we get every year. We just haven't confirmed those requests till after tonight's meeting.
Okay.
I have a feeling the governor's going to make some announcement tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m. And there's going to be some mandates coming down like there was this past spring. So be interesting to see what he has to say.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Dave. I guess I would take a motion tonight, though, to close the community building back down again. Someone wants to make that motion.
I'll make a motion to that effect.
Motion by Councillor Pop to close the community building till further notice. Is there support?
I'll support.
Support by Councillor Peterson. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Counselor Zins,
Yes.
Segler,
Yeah.
Pop,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Mayor Breland.
Yes, motion carries. Any other buildings? I know the arena's been some topic. I guess, Brian, I'm gonna bring it up to you. Brian, has the school made any decision on their sporting events yet?
As far as I understand, all high school sports are still going to be a goal. Even reading about what the governor is going to say tomorrow, it sounds like he wants to keep schools and sporting events open, but probably limited to fans in attendance. God, I'd hate to see us say we're going to close that arena down with, I don't think COVID's been a problem there. I think their youth hockey's done a great job. Wade and Kylene have done a great job. I really hate to take something away from these kids. I mean, there's not a whole lot for them. I don't want to see us take that away from them.
Okay.
The state mandates it, that's one thing, but I mean, I don't see anybody closing their rinks down. I think they're going to try to keep them open through all this. So that's just my opinion.
Okay. Any other counselors have an opinion on it or discussion?
I mean, if you go down there, for practices, there's nobody down there except for the kids that are on the ice and the coaches. The parents aren't hanging around. They're just kind of dropping the kids off and stuff. So I really feel like we don't need to at this point unless there's the mandate that comes down.
Okay. Anybody else?
I would agree with that, as long as we continue to monitor it, and, you know, if we do have an outbreak that we know can be traced back to there, then we can react to it and close it down if needed. But let's try to keep stuff open for the kids.
Okay. And I agree. Me personally, I'm kind of watching what the school does. I mean, if the school would shut down all sports, I think we'd have to readdress this, or if the other arenas were going to close down. One of the things is, before I would be supporting closing the arena, I'd want to know what Evelyn and Virginia is doing. I mean, it'd be kind of silly if we closed ours and the others stayed open and the kids went skating there. So I think I think it sounds like to me everybody's on the same board. We'll just kind of keep an eye on that and see what the governor says tomorrow and see what the school does. So, okay, we'll move on from that. Any other buildings anybody wants to talk about? I think other than City Hall, which is closed right now with construction, I think that kind of takes care of all of that. So we will go down to North Star Lane's request dated October 28th, 2020. And then there's an update that everybody got. And Mitch, have you had a chance to look at this?
Yes, I have, Mayor.
And your comments?
Yeah, it's unfortunate because you're kind of a little bit unusual as a city here, where you have your licensing fees for on sale, off sale are actually written in the city code. Each city does it differently. Some might simply pass annual resolution or just basically establish in resolution what they're going to charge for their liquor license fees. But here you have it written in the city code. And then the city code also has very specific language of the situations where you could grant. The city code has very specific language and criteria as to when you can grant a refund, and also a very specific procedure that would be followed if you were to grant a full refund or a pro rata refund. So that does tie the hands of the city council a little bit, because once it's written in city code, that's like it's written into statute, because that's the actual statutes for the city is your city code. So once it's written in there, the council really is not authorized to deviate from that language. However, this is very common across municipalities across the state, where with liquor establishments really suffering because of the shutdowns, et cetera, lots of cities across the state are doing what they can to try to, give these bars and liquor stores some relief. Particularly the bars. So I think what we could do, based upon the city code provision, I don't think you could grant a refund of the 2020 liquor license fee, because I think the code provisions are too strictly worded. However, what you could do is, we could actually we could go through the process of amending this particular section of the ordinance. And what we could put in there is maybe language to the effect that that in times of natural catastrophes or in times of pandemics or very unusual things that are happening, the city council does have discretion to, number one, reduce the liquor license fees at the city council's discretion, or to perhaps grant pro rata refunds of the fees. And then what we could do is, if we could get that ordinance change passed here between now and the end of the year, then we could just basically, the council then at its discretion, you could lower or even waive the liquor license fees for 2021. So maybe, so in other words, maybe there's something we can do to change the ordinance and then get it done between now and the end of the year. And then for 2021, that's where you would actually grant them some relief, since you're really not able to do it in 2020. Does that make sense?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Can you help Becky with an ordinance on that to bring back to the council?
Yeah, exactly. It would just be simply amending section 110.04. We can do a simple amendment to the city code and we can get that through the process, and then you can grant them the relief for 2021, if that works.
We can bring something back in 2 weeks at the next meeting?
Yeah, we can have a first reading ready to go for the next meeting.
Okay, is the whole council good with that?
Yes.
Sounds good to me.
Good idea.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. We'll move down to emergency hiring EMS. Councilor Zins and myself have been talking with Melanie. We would like to, it's a really tough situation right now, and I don't think we want to spend an hour tonight going over it. So I'd like to call a special council meeting on this. Dave, did you got a time or anything that works with you or Mel or something next week?
Whatever would work with Mel's schedule.
I'm looking at next week, Dave. We have a 4 o'clock meeting on the 16th, Monday. It's the only thing you and I have. And I don't know what the rest of the council looks like for next week.
If we could do it that same night, I'd appreciate it.
I can make that work.
5 o'clock
What night was that?
on Monday, the 16th at 5 o'clock.
I'm good with that.
That'll work for me.
Dan, Brian, okay.
I'm good.
Yep.
Chris?
Yep, works for me.
Okay, so I'd like a motion to schedule a special council meeting on EMS staffing shortages for November the 16th at 5 o'clock.
I'll make that motion.
Chris, I wonder if we should make that 5:30.
Okay,
Because
yeah, I understand.
I requested our next meeting for the East Range to be Zoom.
Okay,
And I think that, last time we ran a little bit tight on, we had our meeting right after and we didn't have a lot of time. So
Chris, is
if
that okay
it
if
went
it's
5:30, I think it would be better.
Chris, is it okay if it's 5:30?
Yes.
Your motion?
Yep.
Okay. So Councilor Peterson made a motion to have a special council meeting at 5:30, November 16th. Is there support?
I'll support that.
Support by Councilor Zins. Roll call, please.
Counselor Zins,
Yes.
Segler,
Yes.
Pop,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Mayor Vreeland.
Yes, motion carries.
Is,
Going down,
Mayor, is that work with both Tony and Mel?
Tony, you good with that?
That should work. Yes.
I'm good.
Mel?
Yep,
Okay.
I worked till 4 that day, so unless I'm stuck on a transfer to God knows where.
God knows where, really?
I got one question for Tony or Mel. What does your roster look like now? What do you have for firefighter EMTs, and then how many EMT onlys and that kind of stuff? I'm just curious.
We did the roster all together. We have 28, I believe.
Okay.
But with people being out, and I think, what did Ann count at the last meeting for EMS? Was it down to 16?
I thought it was 15.
What was it, Dave?
I thought it was 15.
Yeah.
For fire.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was just curious. I should have asked that earlier. I was just curious.
Yeah.
Well, I think that'll be part of the discussion on where we're gonna move forward, but just so the council's aware, last Wednesday, the fire department did have a meeting, and if you look in your packet tonight, they did approve everybody being raised from 24 hours a month minimums to 32 hours for both November and December to try to help out. And I know a bunch of people are trying to step up, but I think when you're talking 118 runs in a month, it's getting to be a little overwhelming. So Mel, she's going to work on short-term solutions and long-term solutions for next week's meeting. So have we done a roll call on that yet, Becky?
Yes.
Okay, so we're good to go there. Any other questions on that? Okay, next item on there is department staffing concerns. I guess I'm not sure what this one's about.
I just added it on there. I don't know, Ken, if you wanted to talk a little bit about, in case due to COVID, departments do go down. If the council for emergency situations, if we could look for help, like contract out if we needed to plow or different things like that. That's why I added it on, just for discussion.
Okay. Kenny, you still on?
Yep. Well, I had some ideas throughout COVID here, way back when in the beginning. Wayne Thuringer from the city of Aurora and I had some discussion on what happens if one department, goes down completely. There would be some mutual agreement or mutual aid with each other. The good thing now is, where 2 of my 4 staff have had it already, you'd like to think that, we're not going to go completely down now. And Aurora's in the same boat. I do have a lot of contractors, in my contact list that could help out with anything we need. Another update that I actually just got today, just this afternoon, was from Janet Altman, our regional safety coordinator. And she shed some light on some new rules that they're allowing for, I don't have it in front of me, I left it at work, but where departments like ours, where they're, essential in the case of emergency and stuff like that, if people who would normally be under a 14-day quarantine, if they aren't experiencing any symptoms or this or that, they can return to work as needed. And so that kind of changed my whole outlook on exactly what we went through last week by losing the whole department at once. So say, for instance, we got a foot of snow and somebody was under quarantine, I would still take the right measures to make sure that there was no contact with any other people. But I don't see where I couldn't have a piece of equipment waiting in the parking lot. They could come in, make no contact with anybody, get their job done and go home. So after receiving that email today and looking at it, I think Betsy had told me there's a couple more attachments to it that I need to look at, but it really put my mind at ease seeing some of that stuff today.
Okay. And I think we'll learn more tomorrow with Governor Walz's new announcements too. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other supervisors have staffing concerns? Okay. Moving on to hockey hut agreement. Brian or Chris?
I'll let Chris take this one. She contacted me today with some information about this. So go ahead, Chris.
Okay. Youth hockey is going to, at this point, not utilize the hockey hut, just for obvious reasons. I feel like if hockey's going to get shut down, there's really no, at some point, if it does or anything like that, concessions are kind of the least of our worries. Just really want the kids to be able to play hockey, and that's it.
Okay. So there'll be no concessions at this time.
Right.
Okay. Any councilmen have any questions or concerns on that? Okay. Anything else under COVID-19? I see we got another on here. Anybody else have any concerns? The only thing I'll mention with my wife being in healthcare, Virginia's been on divert. Both hospitals in Duluth have been on divert over the weekend. So it's getting very interesting out there. So I don't think it's going to get better before it gets worse. So I think we're just going to have to play this by ear. And if something comes up, if anybody has any concerns, we can call a special council meeting at any time. So to address it. So we'll move on to new business. Approve contractor application for payment number 3, wastewater treatment facility improvements, greater construction, the amount of $898,592. Brian, are you on?
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to add here. I just wanted to note that this pay request actually covered September and October. There's actually kind of 2 months of work in here as we were finishing up the loan. And then I had been doing the payments on the fourth Monday meeting. I'm going to shift those to the first meeting of each month. But for the most part, this is concrete and rebar. That's pretty much the basis of their work for probably the next 6 to 8 months. With a little piping along the way. And then also material deliveries for piping and other rebar and valves and things like that that are showing up to the site. But it's going well. They're working on the filter building, so there's really no interaction in between the existing treatment processes. So for staff, it's kind of nice. Contractors on site, but not bothering them. And it should pretty much stay that way into next spring. So if there's any questions about the pay request or the project, be happy to answer those. So,
any questions for Brian? If not, I'll motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Councillor Pop. Is there support?
I'll support.
Support by Councillor Segler. Roll call, please.
Councillor Zins,
Yes.
Segler,
Yes.
Pop,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Mayor Vreeland.
Yes, motion carries. New business item B, schedule city general election canvassing board meeting, November 12th or 13th, 2020. With the rulings, they're still accepting votes until tomorrow. Is that correct, Becky?
Well, legislation due to COVID extended that absentee balloting period. And so the county will be finalizing things tomorrow. So we have to canvass this week the results, but can't do it tonight like we normally would. So I guess I'm asking for a special meeting on the 12th or 13th, whatever time works, and that we can get a quorum. It'll be a quick meeting via Zoom to do that.
This is my recommendation that we would do it on the 12th. I have a Alaskan meeting at 3. If we could do a 4:30 meeting on the 12th, it's going to take 5 minutes.
Thursday?
On Thursday.
That's fine with me.
Everybody else?
Works for me.
Yeah, that works.
Dave, it's a 5-minute meeting, and I mean, just so we have a quorum.
Yeah, it works.
Dan?
Yeah, it works for me, and I guess I'll plead dumbness. So what is a canvassing meeting, Becky?
Canvassing means that as the council and election board for the city of White Lakes, canvassing results will be the number of people that voted for mayor and each of the councilor positions. It will also state how many did write-ins, and that those positions, the council is accepting those as acceptable. And so that people can take their positions next year.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
The city council just has to approve the canvassing that these numbers are correct, and that the 3 councilmen and the mayor will be officially taking over in January. So, okay. What was the
Need a
time
motion
again?
for that.
We need a motion for the 4:30 on Thursday.
Yep.
I'll make it.
Motion by Councillor Segler, support.
I'll support.
Support by Councillor Peterson. Roll call, please.
Councillor Zins,
Yes.
Segler,
Yes.
Pop,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Mayor Vreeland.
Yes, motion carries. Item C, to approve 2020 audit services by Walker Garou Hannah in amount not to exceed $24,750 with an additional $4,000 if a federal single audit is required. And that $4,000 federal single audit has got to do with PFA. Becky, is that correct with the?
Right, any
with the
federal
wastewater?
funding we receive, they have to do that single audit. And that, Walker Giro, Tom Kelly will come in and do it. They had to do one for last year too. So it more than likely will need to be done. And this is in your packet is their standard letter that explains all the duties like they've done in the past.
Can I have a motion to approve this?
That motion.
Motion by Councilor Pop, support.
I'll support.
Support by Councilor Zins. Any other discussion on this? Not hearing any, roll call, please.
Counselor Zins,
Yes.
Segler,
Yes.
Pop,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Mayor Vreeland.
Yes, motion carries. Item D, motion to write off bad debt 214 Cambridge Road in the amount of $478.78. Becky, would you explain this, please?
Sure. This is a resident in town and that was deceased, and it went back as a tax forfeit sale. And at the time, there was an amount due for their water and sewer billing. We have been informed by the county that since it's a foreclosure, we could not add it to the assessment list. And so we're just asking council to make a motion and approve writing off this as bad debt.
Motion for that approval.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Councilor Peterson, support.
I'll support.
Support by Councilor Segler. Any other discussion? Not hearing any, roll call, please.
Counselor Zins,
Yes.
Segler,
Yes.
Pop,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Mayor Vreeland.
Yes, motion carries. Item F, 2021 Rams Board nomination. Councilor Zins.
Yeah, this is since COVID, it was decided by the board we weren't going to have an annual meeting, is when we usually do the ballot presentation. And so this year they mailed them to each entity. And we need to decide who we want to nominate for the open positions. And I believe, Becky, you got the official ballot?
Not yet. I think they're going to be mailing them early December. But I
Okay,
think right now they want you to nominate who you'd like on the ballot. I think that's what the gist of this is.
right. And they want them back by December 1st.
Right.
So with no names in front of us, Councilor Zins, how do we do that? Or is it on the
Well,
back?
there was an
There
attachment that
there was an
listed.
attachment.
Yeah. It's in your packet,
So it's on the back page of this.
correct?
So there's a total of 2-year term, there's 12 vacancies. And there's a 1-year term, there's 1 vacancy for next year.
Okay. Any
And of the executive board members currently, that terms expire in this year, there's 12.
So everybody on the back page of this, it says their terms are expiring in December, those 12.
Right.
So they want us to give 12 2-year terms and 1 1-year term?
Correct.
You have recommendations, Councilor Zins?
Go ahead, Becky.
Well, I just think what they want on this form in the packet is that if you want to submit anybody else from the city to be nominated for any of those open positions, that's what you would do. So we would, I know Dave Zenz is already on and his term doesn't expire yet. So if there's anyone else from the city that would like to be on Rams, is my understanding of it.
Okay, that makes
And then
sense
once
to
the
me.
official ballot comes in December, we would vote on that then.
Okay,
And
Does
I think
any-
if there's no one to nominate, we can decide to not nominate anybody.
okay.
Do you
Anybody
agree,
have-
Dave, or no?
I believe that's how it works, yes.
Yeah.
It sounds right. Does anybody want to nominate anybody else?
Does anybody want to be on the Rams board? Or
Well, we already have Counselor Zins on there, so I'm
right,
very
but does
comfortable
anybody
with
else
that.
want to do it?
My plate's full enough.
Yeah, I think mine is too. So I think we just leave it blank for tonight unless somebody has a different, different opinion. Not hearing any, we will leave it go. So we're at approval to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Counselor Segler to adjourn. Support.
I'll support.
I'll support.
Support by Counselor Peterson. Roll call, please.
Counselor Zins,
Yes.
Segler,
Yes.
Pop,
Yes.
Peterson,
Yes.
Mayor Breland.
Yes. Motion carries. Can everybody remember we have an EDA? So we'll see everybody there.